Okay, I just
Yay.
want to start by saying thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and chat with me. I suppose we should start right at the beginning. How did you first discover burlesque?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, there's like two parts of the story. Like, I've always known about burlesque. Like, I've always grown up with like the image of like a pin-up girl, and I feel
Mhm.
like that's where a lot of people start off with. Is like, especially in burlesque, because like you do pin-up and then you travel into burlesque. But like my first burlesque show, I went with one of my course mates in uni who was also a previous burlesque worker. Her name's Lou Wild, and her stage name is Rio Wild.
Hmm.
Um, so she took me to one of her first shows. Not one of her first shows, but like a first show.
Yeah.
And it was a clumsy cabaret show. And that was honestly like the most amazing show. I got to see so many people that I now get to call family there. I saw Serendipity, who is my like burlesque mentor mother.
Mm.
And I also saw Lily Del-fflur, who has had a huge, huge part of like my burlesque journey. And she's given me so many amazing opportunities, and I call her my mother too.
Mm.
So like, that's where I
Mm.
sort of started.
So how did you go from sort of enjoying shows then to getting on stage yourself? How did that transition happen?
Um, Honestly, it was that night that I saw that first burlesque show. I was like, I want to do this. Like
Mm.
instantly, I saw the people on the stage, and it reminded me of like all the women back home. Everybody is just so themselves when they're on stage, and I feel like I was like, I want to do it. I need to do it. So I'd been to like a few burlesque shows after that first one, and then I saw that somebody was like asking for a performer for like one of their shows that they were doing, and I was like, do I apply? Do I not? And I was like,
Mm.
just go
Yeah.
for it, just go for it. So I went for it, and then it has snowballed ever since. I haven't stopped.
We'll obviously go through some of the gigs a little bit later, but there's kind of a lot of misconceptions, I would say, about burlesque. So, what
Yeah.
kind of does it mean for you? What's your perspective of the art form?
So for me, burlesque essentially is like the art of striptease.
Mm.
Um it is like stripping. Like a lot of
Mhm.
people have a lot of misconceptions saying like burlesque isn't stripping, but I think it is. It's an
Mhm.
art form of stripping. Lily Del-fflur always says, same tree, different branch,
Mm.
which I feel sums it up perfectly. Um, but yeah, it's like for me, especially like I'm not somebody who I can see myself in like in a lot of people in the scene, especially the Cardiff scene. It's
Mm.
a lot of female presenting people. Like I'm a black sheep of like the whole flock sort of thing. But yeah, burlesque is just what you can make it.
Mm.
It's whatever you really want to show on stage. Burlesque comes in so many different art forms, and I feel like I'm I don't know where I fit in these art forms, but I
Mm.
feel like I belong in the art form of burlesque, which
Yeah.
is really, really fun. And everybody's so lovely as well, like in the
Mm.
scene. So I feel like that's another part of me that I enjoy.
Mm. Yeah, I've been to a few, especially Del-fflur shows, and it seems like the
Yeah.
audience are genuinely there to support and look after each other, which is
Oh, without a doubt.
amazing.
Yeah.
um,
Everybody is so supportive.
mm. So that first time you stepped on stage then at that gig that you applied for, what was that feeling like? How did that act come together?
Oh God. So technically I started as a drag performer,
Okay.
uh, just because they already had burlesque people there. So they were like, we kind of want a drag performer. And I was like, well, this is my only chance I'm gonna get, I feel like. So I'm just gonna say that I'm doing drag, but then just on the day, just strip. Um, so it was with a show called Queer Clan Cabaret.
Hmm.
I've done some shows with them like previously as well. Not previously, but like after that as
Yeah.
well. Um, and I performed Sweet Dreams by Beyonce, and I was in a toile. So like I'm a fashion student, so
Hmm.
like a toile is an outfit you make before you make it in the final fabric.
Right.
Um, so it's like this beige calico. It's like calico fabric. So it's not the prettiest fabric, but I was just in that. and I was in like fetish heels, which are like 18 centimeters, like no platform. So like you're on your very tippy toes. And it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. Looking back at it now, I was like, why did I think that I could do that? I should have just stuck to my gut. But I love to learn from my mistakes, and I've never performed in those shoes again, only for a photo shoot.
And so then from that sort of first performance, you've become quite connected with Del-fflurs. So can you explain how that sort of relationship started? How did that grow?
So Lily and Lana, the producers of Del-fflur Productions, they were putting on a show called Delightful Debuts, and it was the very first show. And that show, it genuinely, like, so many things have come from that show. You know, I met my partner at that show. I have formed so many amazing bonds. So I applied for that show, and I somehow got it, like only having like one. Like, I think that's the thing, because it was a debut show. Like they really wanted new performers, and it was like amazing. Like me and Lily, like we are just very like in sync. We understand like each other, and like especially Lana. Me and Lana are both like non-binary, so we have that sort of like sibling thing. But I genuinely, I cannot be more grateful to those two amazing people. Like I love them so much. But yeah, like Lily is just a phenomenal person. And she's like helped me with so much, especially like nowadays. Like I was messaging her the other day, like, what should I do about this and that? And like she has become such a huge like facet in who it's Llywelyn is. But yeah, we've just formed a bond after that first show, and I love them to bits, and I get to call them my family, which I'm so happy about.
That's amazing. So and then moving on then, the first time I sort of saw you in person performing was at Festive Frolics. So what was that show like? What was it like to be a part of that production?
Oh, I feel like you saw me at the beginning of the renaissance of me, and that show, it was like amazing. Any opportunity I get to perform with Del-fflur Productions is like, I'm like, right, I'm home. I can do what I want. And it was an amazing opportunity. Like I had so much fun doing that show. I remember I was doing Santa Baby, and like I'd made a costume like a day before, I think. That's a really common theme with me. I just like leave it to last and make my own costume. But yeah, like the whole atmosphere and like everybody in the crowd is the familiar face, especially DFP show. So it's absolutely phenomenal, and I would love to go back just to do that one show. If I could live one show over my life, it would be that show.
You mentioned obviously creating your own costume. Does that add something to your sort of the product of your performance? Do you think it does it feel different when you've created your own outfit for your show?
Absolutely. Like I'm not like a big-headed person at all. Like I'm the first person to like say that I like to beat myself down. But one thing I carry like on my shoulders is the fact that I make my own costumes. And you know, obviously doing like my degree in fashion, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. I've had a lot of industry training. But being able to like make my own costumes, not only does it like give you the bragging rights, but it also just makes you feel a lot more confident in yourself, because you're like, I know how this works. I know how my body's fit in, you know, and like during the performance, you know, okay, this is going to work fine because I did it, and it's not like somebody else has made it or something. But you also get to bring the whole image of like what you want to come alive. So a lot of like my performances, it starts off with the costume, or either I find a song and I'm like, what sort of costume fits this song? But a lot of it, like a lot of my like ideas do come from my aesthetic, which is really helpful. The fact that I get to make it all myself.
Yeah, totally. I've also done a bit of research and found you performed in Cowboys Comedy. What was that being a part of that like?
So I was the first burlesque performer
Wow.
to perform at Cowboy Comedies, and it was phenomenal. Like wasn't necessarily the like how I thought it was gonna go, because it's not a burlesque show. You know, people in the audience aren't familiar with what is actually happening. So when I did that, I was really nervous, and I actually got that gig from Lily's Festive Frolics gig. So
Oh.
he had messaged me after he saw me, and he was like, "I'd love to have you perform." And I was like, "Okay, that's great, that's great." I believe it was after Lily's Festive Frolics. I don't know, I could be lying, but it was phenomenal. I got to make a new routine because they wanted a cowboy like sort of act, and I'm so glad that I did that, because that cowboy act now is being chosen to do Wales Burlesque Festival, which
Fabulous.
is absolutely insane that I'm doing it like a year into my career. But yeah, like it just snowballs. Like from one gig to another, you just always like getting new opportunities and getting to create new acts and stuff. So that was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it, and I would love to go back there someday.
You mentioned sort of you were the only burlesque performer. Does on the lineup and kind of the new to most people in the audience, did that add pressure at all to sort of your performance?
Yeah, absolutely. Like a lot of the audience, and like especially in that night, was like men, you know, and I'm not necessarily somebody who like straight men would be like, "Oh, damn, that's sexy," you know, sort of thing. But like I was shit in a brick, not gonna lie, because it wasn't necessarily like my scene. But I just went on there and I was like, I just do what I'm gonna do what I love. Like, and I know that the producers absolutely like wanted me to be there, so I was like, I'm just gonna show them why they asked me to be
Yeah.
there. So it was a lot of pressure. It was a lot of pressure just because it wasn't necessarily something that the audience expected or I expected either.
And obviously, you did mention sort of the Wales Burlesque Festival. So, what was it like getting that sort of the message to say, right, we want you on the lineup?
So honest, I bawled my eyes out when I got that. Like, I'm not even kidding you. I was in hysterics because I applied for it because it gets your name out there. Like, even if I'm somebody who's surprisingly, I've not had many rejection emails, and I don't know what that says about me, but no, I'm joking. But like when I was like, I'm gonna apply for it. If I don't get it, that's great, because at least they know that I'm like willing to do it, and like maybe if they continue to do it down the line, I get to do that. So I was really not expecting to get the message or the email back saying we would love you to perform for us at Wales Burlesque Festival. You know, the organisers, Fufu, Ula, and Flossie, I look up to them so much. Like genuinely, Ula Pearl is especially like I fangirl so hard over Ula Pearl, and like I got to perform with her one time, and I was like just shaking. Like I was like, I can't even look at her. But it felt incredible to have like all the hard work I've put in, like all the hours I've done sewing, all the hours I've done refining my acts. You know, like they just confirmed everything that I've done, all the work that I've done in the past like year, and to have that opportunity only like a year and a bit into my career. Well, even at that time, I think it wasn't even a year into my career. Like I got the email, so it just confirmed everything that I've been doing, and it's just like a push to say like continue to do what you do.
So, can you tease kind of what we can expect from you at the Burlesque Festival?
Yes. Well, uh, like I said, I'm bringing back my cowboy act, but it's gonna have a new little upgrade. I'm gonna do a little new upgrade to my costumes. The song's not gonna be 6 minutes long anymore. I'm gonna have to cut that down, but it's gonna be fabulous. I'm gonna spend hours and hours and hours stoning my little cowboy hat. I'm gonna do everything I possibly can, go full out for it. So yeah, get your tickets now.
I'll put the link in the description so people can just scroll down and click away. And obviously, if people did see your performance at Cowboys Comedy, obviously they can. It's going to be different, so it's going to be exciting. So even if you have seen it before, they can enjoy the performance again. So
Yeah.
I'm coming to the end of my questions, but kind of where can people stay up to date with you?
Oh, so you can stay up to date. Follow me on Instagram at it's Llywelyn.
Hmm.
Normally I do post on my social medias where my next gigs are. I've got a lot coming up in this summer.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm hoping to do a little bit of like commissions and stuff because
Hmm.
obviously I've got to put my degree to use for somehow. So if you're ever looking for a costume, any burlesque girls looking for costumes, come my way. Um, but yeah, that's about it, to be honest.
And I suppose the final question is sort of what advice do you have for young performers looking to get into the burlesque sort of space?
Um, you just got to bite the bullet,
Mm,
like, and at first you're gonna feel like out of place just because people are like years ahead of you,
mm,
but you've got to have that drive in order to push yourself. And like any negative advice you get from some randomers, because trust me, the burlesque people, they will not do that. They will encourage
mm,
you. But any negative advice, just use that to your advantage. Um, honestly, if you want to get a good start, if Lily's ever casting for
mm,
a delightful debuts, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many shows she's done now, go for it because Lily's an amazing
mm.
person to go to. And yeah, just do it. Honestly, just do it.
And like you said, obviously the community is so supportive. Like,
Support it.
you've mentioned sort of the first time you felt, maybe your performance wasn't up to the standard it is now, and that is going to happen naturally. But having
Yeah,
such a supportive community literally cheer you, urge you to go on, like, it is amazing.
yeah, it is. It's incredible, and like I love that little like my little community that I've got, and
Mm.
I wouldn't take it for the world.
So that is all my questions. So I'll end the same way I started, just by saying thank you so much for taking the time out to sit down and
Well,
chat
thank
with me.
you.
Um, yes, so I shall see you soon, and I'm very excited to see you at the Burlesque Festival.
Yay! Thank you so much, Grace. It's been a pleasure.
No problem. Speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.